Welcome sim racing and racing fans to Portland for round 2 of the rFactor GT Pro Series powered by VCO. Once again, we're here with the 30 best drivers from around the globe battling it out on a brand new track in our schedule. My name is once again Renee Butland. Alongside me is Lee Demon Smith for another round of great racing action. Demon, new track, new challenge.
Absolutely. Portland is the track we're moving to today. We're looking at just over 1 minute a lap times, which is what we've been seeing throughout the qualifying. So pretty quick times across around the track. It's a pretty short track, in fairness, and the first showing in GT Pro.
That is like last year. I always want to say last year. Last season isn't that far away, basically. But we never had Portland, so this is the very first time. But still the old scheme, still the old way of doing it. It's the round 2 of 6. We got 30 drivers, and we're doing 15 minutes and 45-minute races. So qualification first, then we do a 15-minute sprint race, all out, and then we rotate the first 10. So we flip them around, and then we go for a 45-minute second race, basically. Slightly different points. There are a bit more points up for grabs on that one, because obviously you try to get through all of the grid when coming from a race win in sprint and then starting 10th in the main race, basically. And last race, which was Sebring, round 1, showed us that even season 2, though that we got slightly different grid in this season in terms of cars, it's once again a super crazy championship.
Absolutely, and it's very close, that's for sure. But granted, a lot of people are in the same car because they're all like in the Callaway at the moment. Obviously, the BOP will be coming shortly to see if that affects things. I don't know. The Callaway Corvette is what a lot of people are plumb for, which actually in itself kind of made it very entertaining racing, because obviously with a bunch of people all in the same car, it's really down to A, the setup, and B, how good that driver can be.
Yeah, regarding the setups, we know that the drivers put in a lot of work in this to actually get up the front, even though we have to say some of the names that had been dominant in Season 1 are still here, and they're still going strong for the top 5 results each and every time. On your screen right now, that's the actual round-by-round prize money and the championship prize money, so there's cash on the line every single race for these drivers, just to make sure that they have even more pressure on the shoulders when fighting for the big points in the championship. Also, the winners can choose from some Fanatec gear right after the round, so it's another nice bonus, I would say, and to get your rig in shape and making sure that you got everything that you need for then Season 3. This is a locked grid. Just to explain to everyone who is not yet familiar with the GT Pro Series, this grid was basically established after relegation of Season 1, so the grid will always be the same for the next 4 rounds coming, 6 in total. And then after the season, we go into relegation, where the drivers from our feeder series, the GT Challenge series, come up and have a shot at getting a spot in the Pro Series. So we demote some, we promote some drivers, and then in Season 3, we got an all-new grid once again. So all of these guys fought their way into the Pro Series, and now it's time once again for them to show why they actually made it in here. Jajowski in qualification, currently leading with a 101.161 of ones in there for Jajowski. Not really surprising. I have to say, though, second position right now is a teammate of the guy that you have on your screen right now, and that is Jonas Raivio for Sancho in this. And I have to say, in terms of qualification, slightly surprised that Sancho's so far up ahead.
Yeah, and looking at the practice, Kevin Siggy actually had got himself up there with, it was a 101.2, so he was right behind him as I say that. Bam! 101.186, Kevin Siggy. I was just saying he'd done pretty well. Obviously, he is in the BMW, I think the only runner in the BMW, if I'm not mistaken, in this one. So obviously a lot of people are talking about the Callaway Corvettes. It's great to see Kevin Siggy, who did very well last season. He was second place throughout the entire season after Erhan Jajowski, so it's great to see no matter what car they're in, they can still perform.
Yeah, definitely. It is the only BMW with Kevin Siggy for Team Redline, and we got some other cars as well, so just so that everyone gets familiar with it, we got Hany Esports on the way with some Ferraris, currently checking where they are in the standings tonight. I see Martin Durlan, 21st, that is a Ferrari, John Alesi Ferrari actually. And where is his teammate, though?
Just want to talk about that, Rennie. We're watching Yuri Kastorp there, and it just shows actually watching Erhan cutting a little bit, but making sure he uses all of the circuit. But it's really Portland, the track, especially in the turns 1, 2, 3, 4, like the S section. Effectively, if you don't know what it is, I think we're seeing it now. Yeah, Pinto's. No, he's on the final to start finish straight. But we'll see him get to it in a second. It's really about being as smooth as you can around that section. You can gain and lose so much time. If you watch some of the guys go around it, just how stupidly smooth they are going around it. Ravio, no, he's on the start finish straight as well. We'll get one on that section in a minute, but I think we're going to catch them all on the end of qualifying here.
And maybe we should stay with Runas Ravio for this lap, just so
he's
we
get
a feel for Portland.
Oh, no, looks like he's actually going for it. Okay, here we go. So this is what I was talking about. So it's just all about being how smooth you can be. There's no chicane in this one, as there is sometimes in some versions of the track. There's no chicane this time on that start-finish straight. So it's all about this section. You've got to be as super smooth as you can. Obviously, kissing the apex as best you can. Ravio is just a little bit wide there. And that's where you're going to gain and lose so much time in this track, because it literally is just all curvy. Even effectively the back straight is a curve, which is what it's about to come to now. This is just one long curve all the way down, and then a sharp corner at the end to finish off. It's a really quick track. I'm expecting to see plenty of overtaking opportunities.
It will be very interesting, but with trying to be as smooth as possible, we also know that it gets way harder to position your car alongside someone and making a move, especially when starting with the triple right here in Sector 1 at Portland. So it will be very interesting how all of the drivers will cope with that today. As said, this is the first time that we visit Portland with the GT series, no matter if it's Pro or Challenge. Challenge obviously goes to this track next week for all of the grits over there. A lot of drivers involved in our feeder series, which I absolutely love. I see Kevin Siggy. I want to be very aggressive there over the curbs with the BMW here for Team Redline. Currently in second, right behind Jajowski, in front of Ravio from Sancho, and then it's Capit and Kastorp in 4 and 5. So the next R8G Esports drivers. Quite a lot of them on the way in Callaways. They did very well at Sebring, but so did Kevin Siggy. It will be very, very interesting to see if he actually has a shot here at Portland to bring that BMW even further up. Let's see where the first Williams driver is, though. We got Arne Schoenfeld in 6th right now. He's obviously not Williams, but Ajira Racing. Not in the Porsche as in Season 1, but now in the Callaway Corvette. 6th, and then 7th is the first Williams driver, and that's Nikodem Wisniewski, right in front of Jakub Brzezinski, who's representing Mahler Racing Team, the cooperation between Williams and Mahler. So a similar looking car, but quite different still in terms of team names. Well, we're on board with Michi Hoyer, Burst Esports, and he was the one that grabbed the championship crown in the first ever GT Challenge series. So he started in the feeder series, won it there, and then made his way up into pros. I think that's a very interesting storyline. I really want to see him succeed and show this new feeder system going into pro and then being there, trying their best.
Someone I'm not seeing is Hany Alsabti this week. Is he absent for any particular reason? I don't see him within the grid, because I say that because obviously he is 3rd in the points overall, but I don't see him in there, which obviously I assume this season they also have that one track where they can effectively nullify points on, which if he is having to miss it for any particular reason, it would obviously be the one he has to go with. Obviously, in second in points was Nikodem Wisniewski. He's down in 8th at the moment. Actually, I'd say that 9th, as Brzezinski just pips him in the qualifying. Obviously, we're talking about this is all qualifying for the sprint race, which will be the quick 15-minute race, and then obviously the top 10 will flip once the sprint race is concluded. But yeah, Nikodem a little bit off the pace here on Jajowski, who obviously they were neck and neck throughout in Sebring 2 weeks ago.
They showed a great pace there, great fights as well. Like Sebring was really a track where we saw so much side-by-side and wheel-to-wheel racing, I have to say. Really interested to know if Portland can deliver the same experience for us when watching. See De Beyer, one of the Sancho drivers, and Jan van der Heijden, another teammate of his. Same for Jonas Ravio, who's now down to 5th. But Arne, Ajira Racing, Shenfleet, he's in 4th now. Really doing a great job diving into the top 5. We got Nuno Pinto now in 7th, 101.3. Just so that everyone knows, because I mean, look at that tower. It's 0.459 to 15th.
It's a second, 1 second down to 29th, 1 second between the entire field. And obviously at the moment, Jajowski, the only man inside sub 101 to go in. It is really a tight race. I mean, it's just, what, 0.003 of a second splitting Siggy and Kastorp right now. So very close racing we're expecting. As you mentioned, though, it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle the racing in terms of side-by-side with it being such a curvy track. It's not like there's too many straights. Obviously, you have the long, big start-finish straight, and then what we're seeing Martin Drilland on right now, it's almost just a long, winding curve while you can go next to it. That's where we're going to expect to see basically the cars using just about every section of the track. Everybody's pretty much got the perfect apex going on right now. Martin Drilland there going to be just a little off the pace. Yeah, it's a 101.5, so it doesn't even make the top 15. That's how close it is. 5/10 of a second, and you don't even make the top 15. It's scary.
Yeah, it's crazy. Right, Ravia with another very aggressive turn in there. I mean, that's a downside of it right now. You see that in the qualification, that they're really taking a lot of risk. They're running very strong over the curbs. They're trying to cut the course as much as they can without getting a track cut detected. That's fine if you're just going for one shot, but doing that, especially in the 45-minute race, will be a problem because you lean completely on the outside tires. If you do any mistake there, the car just slips away and that's it, because there's no chance to recover before the next corner, which means you will lose a ton of time, might even crash the car. So we'll be addressing to see if we see different driving styles throughout the sprint and main race then, because yeah, I'm not sure if they can keep on to that every single lap.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, no doubt about it. We're seeing the last minute of qualifying. Anybody going to be able to top Jajowski? I'm not too sure. Kevin Siggy's come the closest. Kastorp has been close. Ravio was up there. And obviously, 0.2 just off it. Looks like he's maybe not quite on it at the moment. Robin Panzer, he's some way down at the moment. 21st in terms of qualifying. He is on a, his best is 101.568 so far. Seeing whether he can best that, which is insane, really. There's so many in and around 101.5. Obviously, that's going to be a little wide, and that's going to be Pansar done, I'm afraid. Down to Ciara from Butler Pal, one of the few Porsche runners in there. Yep, the Porsche has definitely been struggling, no doubt about it so far. And Ciara is almost a second off the pace. Looks like he's going to pull out of this one.
Yeah, he's down now to 101. That's a start, I would say, in the Porsche, but currently not really in any shape where you can attack other drivers. So I was just quickly checking. So we know that obviously the fastest Corvette is Jajowski right now. Then Siggy with the fastest BMW in second. Then the fastest Ferrari should be Martin Durland in 22nd right now. And then the quickest Porsche is Path in 24th. Although I missed the other, the Varga Ferrari Michael Zetlacek's in 26th right now. All right, I was wondering what all the different cars are that we currently have. I missed one Ferrari though. Did I overlook the second? Did I overlook the second Jean Alesi Ferrari?
Well, Martin just binned it in the wall, so maybe you missed that. I was looking for one myself. Yeah, so that is qualifying over. It is going to be Erhan Jajowski at the top in pole position, Siggy in second in the BMW. That's going to be Kastorp, Schoenflitt, Ravio, and Capit. We're going to get the final confirmations in just a second, but a fast qualifying. Jajowski, the only man to break 101 on the grid. A fantastic performance from him, from R8G Esports.
Yeah, definitely another pole position there. Kevin Siggy with the BMW. Looking at the Williams guys like Jakub Brzezinski, Nikodem Wisniewski, 9 and 10. So Marlon Williams Esports, that's not looking bad. Oh, Dennis Jordan, once again, very strong showing here in the qualification for Evolution Motorsports in 7th. Can be proud of that for sure. Peter Bjelak in 11th. Not quite sure if we had that purple on the Williams, on his Williams livery before. Journey Simoncic, Burst Esports 12, and Von der Heide, another Sancho car. Ferry Stanley for HM Engineering in 14th. Lorenzo Risi, then Kevin Rotting for AAA Esports. Daniel Canistracci, Waveframe Esports in 17th.
Good luck.
We see Michi Hoyer, 19th. The GD Challenge winner. Alex Siebel, the second Evolution Motorsport driver, in 20th. So it's also not bad at all. There we got the first Ferrari, Martin Döhler in 22nd for John Alesi Esports. Then we have, look at that, Wojciech Polesny in another Ferrari from Vargas Sim Racing, though, in 24th. So very close to Martin Döhler. And then Peja Path in 25th with the first Porsche. Another Ferrari for Michal Sedlacek. And then the one ACO guys, 27, 28. And Zbigniew Szara, fortunately, 29th. So someone has to be last, right? That's how it is. Well, we have a quick look once again at Portland and where we can actually start the race and where we might see most of the overtaking. I love how it says fast right-handers. It's basically right-handers everywhere on this track.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty sweeping through. This is where it's going to get tight. It's one of the tightest, and then you can see it leads to this long flowing sort of S into a long curve, which is the long curve back straight right there. It's almost like I knew it was coming. And then it goes into a pretty tight braking point into the left side. So there's probably going to be one of the overtaking points as it gets in there, but then you've just followed the curves around onto that big long straight. So probably expecting some overtaking points, certainly at turn 1 and 2, just a bit of follow through there. And then again, after that back long curve where people can get the drag from behind and maybe try and make a move. As we look at the grid.
We do. Does it surprise you? That sounded so good. Look at the grid. So, we had our top 10 before. Remember, if you're on 10th after the first race, you're actually starting pole position in the main race. So it's one of the more interesting positions to be at if you can't be up front. But it will be Erhan Jajowski who's actually starting this race once again, and he has a ton of his teammates right behind. Will be very interesting to see how Kevin Siggy, with the only BMW up front there between all the Corvettes and between all those Romain Grosjean Esports drivers, how he can cope with that, if he can hold on to that position or even win a position and might bring the BMW for his first leading kilometers. Who knows? The next one then to look at for me is Nuno Pinto on 8th, I have to say, the AAA Esports drivers, who had very, very strong races every now and then, but currently missing the, I would say, constant big scores that his talent can definitely bring home.
This is such a short track. We've just about got the grid finished. And I'll tell you what, they've nearly finished the formation lap. We need to get it in there because they're just about to come onto the back straight. That's how quick a track this is as we are about to get ready to go. Jajowski will be the man that will lead the charge for them. And away we go. We are racing into the sprint race. The first 15 minutes gets in the way, and Jajowski gets himself a good start. Siggy going to have to go defensive against Kastorp already, I feel, here. He's not going to quite have the speed to get into the corner. It's going to be very tight. This is where everything has to be flowing nicely. I see a car going wide already at the back there. That looked like about 4th or 5th place. Don't exactly know who it was. We'll kind of look back at that in just a moment. That's going to be another spinning out. I think, was that Kastorp? Was that Kastorp that just went out there? No, it wasn't. It was further down. Kastorp's still in 3rd place. It is a messy, messy opening.
Yeah, that was one of the Sancho cars there. The first slide out into the grass, actually, that was Nuno Pinto. I said I really have to keep an eye on him, but now he's 29th, so lost a lot of time. Same for Dennis Jordan, the Evolution Motorsport driver, all the way down to 28th now. So it seems like the triple right-hander was a bit too harsh on a lot of people. Michi Hoyer right in all that traffic. Look at that, how close everyone is. There's an Evolution Motorsport car right behind him. That will not make it easier. That's Alex Siebel. And then Wojciech Polesny in the Ferrari. That is the red and black Ferrari you see in the background. Everyone coming across the start-finish straight once again. Currently leading is still Erhan Jajowski. Kevin Siggy, who managed to stay on 2nd position here, right in front of Yuri Kastorp and then Arne Schönfleet. So it's 2 Romain Grosjean Esports drivers in the top 5, no, 3 of them, because Risto Capet is 5th. Then 1 Redline driver and 1 Ajira Racing driver, which is Arne Schönfleet. coming from a Porsche in Season 1, as we said earlier already. But look at Kevin Siggy. I really love how he just brings that one BMW to this championship and then even holds on to second position. He's quick in qualifying. He's great in racing. He knows how to defend. He knows how to attack. And it seems like he can do it with whatever car.
Absolutely. You can see them running just about on the track limits here, making sure they dip every part of the corner. And Siggy took that absolutely perfect. Gives himself a little bit of a gap to Kastorp there. Capit also, as you say, hot up behind him. Great start from Wisniewski, by the way. He started down in 10th. He's already up in 6th place, so really benefited from the initial start there. And he's all hot on the heels of Risto Capit. Obviously, we know he's a great racer. You know he's got it in him to get the overtakes in there, so going to keep my eye on him at the moment. He's second in the championship with Erhan Jajowski, obviously the leader currently in the championship, up in first place. Wisniewski, though, is all over the back of that Corvette, unsurprisingly, because there's lots of them in there, but Risto Capit, he's under pressure.
He definitely is. Nikodem Wisniewski, he's prone to go very aggressive if he has to, right? Like, he's not a driver, I would say, that has the most patience in this grid, but hey, they also need to make a move somehow, right? And they're all racing in the Callaway Corvette, so it's the same tools for everyone. If you want to make a pass, then you have to work hard for it to actually get through there. We'll have a quick look at the replay. Whose view is that? That's an Evolution Motorsport car up the front. Oh, that was tapped from the back. Nuno Pinto was that. He definitely was tapped in the back. There. Yeah, and then tapped the Evolution Motorsport driver in front of him, which should have been Dennis Jordan.
I'm actually impressed that was only 2, I think, that went out there. That could have easily been collected about 3, 4, 5 easily, the way he was going backwards through the pack on the corner. So everybody did well to avoid and mitigate as much damage as possible. Yuri Kastorp actually had to drop off a little bit, but he's still on the back of Siggy. He had fell away, but there is a gap forming between him and Arne Schumflet. There's like a small pack forming with Wisniewski trying once again on the back of Risto Capit here, as we see the bonnet view from Yuri Kastorp all on the back of that BMW, the one and only BMW running in the field from Kevin Siggy, who had a fantastic season in the GT Pro Season 1, finished in 2nd place, went down to the last race as well. So we're hoping to see something as close once again this season. As Kastorp just has a little look, Kevin Siggy not leaving his line. We know how important it is to have the perfect sweeping line around here. So if you've got to go defensive on that very first corner, it's going to put you out of position for the rest.
And really interesting to see that Kastorp actually tried to show himself a bit bigger in Siggy's rear view mirror, although it was not close enough yet for an attack. Nikodem Wisniewski seems like he had to let loose Risto Capit a bit, because that gap definitely got a bit bigger, while Yuri Kastorp is once again way closer to Kevin Siggy. Now look at that view from Siggy's rear wing onto Yuri Kastorp. But he also knows that one little mistake basically can cost him tons and tons of positions. There was a slight slide from Risto Capit right in front of Nikodem Wisniewski. We catch that with Wisniewski's camera. We now got Jimmy Nisula in 16th, who's looking at Daniel Canistracci and Lorenzo Arisi in front of him. A lot of drafting right now, obviously, with everyone being on the same car. That's the only way of getting a bit closer. Kevin Siggy once again defending the inside line, trying to make his BMW even wider there, with Yuri Kastorp trying to get his nose in there, trying to find some bit of space there. Seems like they actually touched, but nothing big happening. Waveframe Esports Corvette on the right there. A bit off track, it looked like, for Jimmy Nisula, who's now up in 15th.
Yeah, just trying to squeeze it through. Meanwhile, also further down in 10th place, Brzezinski's defending hard against Yuni Simicic. He's been trying to put the moves on him. Obviously, we know what the 10th place, that's going to be where it flips, as Yuri got the move this time. He's going to be on the inside here. I think he may be able to... Oh, no! Just clipped on Kevin Siggy there. Now, who's obviously behind? It's going to be a Schumflet that's just looking to see if he can make an opportunity on this one. It's pulled everybody closer. Risto Capit also with Wisniewski right in his draft at the moment. He's following him. He's going to try and make a move on the first corner as they come down, try and ditch out. There you go. You can see Kevin Siggy having to pull to the left there. Behind them, Wisniewski's making a move just behind to try and get past Risto Capit.
Yeah, we got moves now everywhere, but it seems like Yuri Kastorp definitely passed Kevin Siggy, and there's a chance now for Arne Schonfleet. He saw that gap opening and he tried to squeeze that Corvette in there, but it wasn't enough, at least not on this attempt. If Kevin Siggy was super aggressive on defending it into turn 1, but you can only change line once, so there was not more for him to do to actually block Yuri Kastup, and then Kastup with a great run there through turn 1, 2, and 3. Now opening that gap, and Arne Schonfleet is already on to Kevin Siggy. Seems like that guy's not really getting away from pressure, no matter which lap. And now the next Corvette tries to pass that BMW into this sweeping sector. So much speed to get carried around. But it seems like, at least for now, he can hold on to that. Nikodem Wisniewski, he also passed Risto Capet in the background while we saw the maneuver for second, third, and fourth. So the Williams driver now up to 5th, Risto Capet down to 7th, and then it's to 6th, and then Jonas Raivio right behind them.
Yuni Simicic got past Wisniewski as well, so he's up into 10th place now and starting to put some space between him and the rest. And remember, obviously 10th place will be where it flips in the start of the main race. So important position to get from Jakub Brzezinski of Mala. So Simicic, great move. Here we go. This is Jimmy Nasula further down. That's a clean move, just sweeping through. Maybe turning in a little too tight. That's very, very close. This is what we're talking about. Is it really doable to be too wide? And not really, because you've got to be so smooth and so close. To go wider, you're just not going to be able to hold that. Kevin Siggy, meanwhile, he's having to do what he can to keep himself in 3rd place. Arne Schonfleet putting a lot of pressure on him right now.
Yeah, but still the BMW is holding on to it, and it's another 7.5 minutes for Kevin Siggy and Team Redline to stay on the podium with 3rd right now. They definitely want those points. They need those points in the championship. But Arne Schonfleet also sees his chance here with a Corvette. Once again, Kevin Siggy covering up the inside line. Schonfleet on the outside. Not really that much for him to do there, because he has to run a lot wider. And with all these right corners, like right-handed corners coming around there, it's way too long to really make the move around the outside. Different to Sebring, where we saw a lot of maneuvers being possible around the outside. Back to Jimmy Nasula now, who is, let's see where he is, 15 still, right behind Lorenzo Arisi. That's the Freeman Esports car right in front of him. But Arne is not letting Kevin Siggy get away. Once again, trying to go side by side here. Siggy might even be a bit too slow here onto the straight. That should be possible for Schonfleet. He's passing through. There's another car right behind. That's Nikodem Wisniewski now getting involved into this battle, which seems like there was small contact between them, collecting before the right-hander. But once again, Siggy was able to defend that, although he lost another position this lap.
It's pulled everyone into it, hasn't it? Jonas Raivio and Capet all looking at this along with Wisniewski to see if they can get past Kevin Siggy. The BMW is prey at the moment to the Corvettes, and I'm seeing Risto Capet going very aggressive on the backside of Wisniewski. We're watching Wisniewski here, but he's got to be defensive from behind as well. Risto Capet, who he just overtook a moment ago, look at that on Kevin Siggy. Not going to be able to do it on the outside there, but he can get the inside on the next section. I'll keep my eye on that as the replay comes through.
It will be very interesting to see if Kevin Siggy can actually hold on to any position right now, because it seems like the Corvette's in a better shape now. Nikodem Wisniewski is the next one that wants to pass him. Risto Capet is lining up right behind him as well. Then Jonas Raivio, Peter Bielak, who's up to 8th now, in a fight with Ferry Stanley. That's another very interesting group there. And I think I saw Kevin Rotting leading
Capet's
another
gone wide.
back.
Capet's gone wide there, I think. Tell a lie. Tell a lie. I think he just tipped it. Yes, he did. He has gone wide, because you can see it looks like Briliac's going to get past him. So yes, he ran wide on the last corner there, and that's going to put Peter Briliac through into 7th place.
And no chance though for Ferry Stanley, who wants to get a look at Risto Capet's rear as well. So a bit of wiggling going into that turn. Obviously that's an HM Engineering livery for Ferry Stanley, not Satellite Racing anymore like he was in Season 1. So probably made a move there. Jajowski still in control of the race, still first. And Yuri Kastup in second, so it's a Roman Grosjean 1 and 2 for now, with Ajira Racing on 3, and then Kevin Siggy on 4th, and Nikodem Wisniewski. Wisniewski, although, slightly bigger gap now between him and the Redline pilot, and that's Risto Capet once again running wide, way too wide, going through the grass around the last turn here.
The same corner where he just ran wide a moment ago, and that's cost him. Ferry Stanley should be just about coming by in a moment. That was where it obviously ran wide, and that was what really cost him. Ferry Stanley's right on his heels as well. Peter Briliak obviously was the one that passed him. Now, Yoni Simičić is getting involved. He's trying to catch up on Ferry Stanley. Obviously, as this pack now brought in by Risto Capit has brought Yoni Simičić to see if he can get ahead and get a little further than 10th place.
Yeah, although 10th place would give him pole position in the main race, so definitely not a bad spot to be. Jonas Raivio in 6th right now, looking at Nikodem Wisniewski, and then in front of that is Kevin Siggy's BMW. Let's quickly check where the quickest Ferrari is right now. That's still Martin Durland, now in 19th. Though, it seems like the non-Corvette or non-BMW cars not as quick as the rest of the pack right now. Quickest Porsche in 22nd. Last right now is Borja Milan. Where did we lose him? Like, one ACO, the cars hadn't been in the top 15 this time after qualification, but seeing Borja Milan in 29th, that's definitely a surprise. He can do way better than that. While we had Martin Dillon on the left there, looking at Alex Siebel and Robin Panzer right behind him. Risto Capit. Now, is there a chance around the outside? We didn't saw it happening so far, but maybe Capit can do it. Switching all through. Yeah, not enough though.
Oh, Capit through. That's beautiful on Peter Briliak. Absolutely fantastic move there, Peter going down. Really nice to see Risto back in it, obviously shaking off the cobwebs of that error a moment ago, and that's actually put Briliak a little bit wide there. So Ferry Stanley now looking to see if he can get a sniff and see if he can do anything on the back end of him, bringing Simičić also into it, obviously in 10th place as well. All starting to look at this. Once they sense blood in the water, they're all looking for it, and Peter Briliak is under pressure from Ferry Stanley.
Yeah, Ferry Stanley now on the outside. That didn't work well on the last attempt, and once again he have to get back. Not really working for him, not getting the car alongside, because it's a very tight corner there. You can't really fit through there with two cars. Obviously Cedar Vaya, and that's a 1 ACO car behind. That's Nico Bartley, all right. And then in front is Michael Sedlacek in the Varga Sim Racing Ferrari 488. Coming down the start-finish stretch once again. Might be a chance here.
The dive in. It's going to be Simičić. Simičić with a beautiful move around the outside of Ferry Stanley on the first corner. Beautifully done. Manages to outbrake him. Ferry Stanley almost trying to go defensive, trying to get past Briliak himself there, and Simičić senses the moment and makes the move.
Another good move here for Burst Esports. A team with so much potential and so much talent on the entire roster. It's the same here in the GT Pro as well as in many of the other events they're running. But we can also say that Hoya, Panzer, and all the others of that outfit could be way further up ahead, but they would have to pass that Frame Wave Esports car first, which won't be easy. A lot of blocking left and right. This is Siggy Wisniewski Raivio once again going down into turn 1. Kevin Siggy, he's probably not even used to the normal line through turn 1 anymore, because he always has to defend inside, no matter which lap, every single time there's a Corvette trying to take down the BMW.
It's the only BMW on the track, and it's the widest BMW on the track. It is working. This is Simicic's beautiful move. You can see Ferry Stanley was looking to try and get past Peter Briliak in front of him, tried to wiggle it off, and Simičić saw the move. It was fantastically done, and Simičić obviously now on the back of Peter Briliak because of that. It's also because they've been playing defensive. Effectively, it's brought in Jan van der Heide and Kevin Rotting all on the back of this pack now, and obviously as we close in on the last lap, they'll see if anyone can make the move.
Oh, that was very close here between Wisniewski and Kevin Siggy, but both cars still going. That's the important bit. But now they're going down the main stretch once again, and Kevin Siggy has to defend the inside. There's no other way, because Nikodem Wisniewski for Williams wants to make that pass here with 0 minutes remaining. This must be it for him, because it is last lap and will be easy. Look at that. Yeah, the BMW, no chance to defend there. Not covering inside line enough. So Wisniewski found his way around him. And then it's Jonas Raivio next. But for Jonas, there will not be enough time, I fear.
Yeah, and honestly, drive of the day so far from Wisniewski. Started out in 10th place, up into 4th place, looking to really go for it. That was the little slight nudge on him, but he didn't benefit from it. So, you know, you can't take anything away from that one. Yes, he did get a slight little contact on Siggy, but it's perfectly fine. All friendly and clean. Ferry Stanley, remember, this is the last lap. Everybody's going to start making a move. He's trying to get in the inside of Yuni Simincic as Jajowski will go over the line. It will be Kastorp, Schumfelit, Wisniewski, get his name right, correct there, as Ravio also hot on the heels of Kevin Siggy. Will be a 5th place for Siggy. Ravio's going to try and make the move, but he won't have the power to get over on the line. It will be Ferry Stanley in the end, down in 10th place. He will be the cut-off for the sprint race, and he will be starting on the pole position with Simincic alongside him. And a very entertaining first sprint race, as of course we tot up the points to see where it all stands. But there is that one man in first position, led from the start, Erhan Jajowski, leading the championship and absolutely dominating the sprint race.
Yeah, good run for R8G Esports once again, really scoring strong in every single GT Pro Series race we had this season. So probably one of the champion this season could once again be R8G Esports, who knows Jajowski, Kastorp, Schunfleet, then Wisniewski, and Kevin Siggy. Very unfortunate for Kevin Siggy, who was defending basically the entire 50 minutes. No chance for him to make a move further up the field. Then Jonas Raivio, Capit, Bjorluk, Simincic, and Ferry Stanley for the top 10. Ferry Stanley obviously now with pole position in main race in front of Simincic. Jan van der Heide missing that pole position we just talked about by just one spot. Kevin Rotting for AAA Esports in 12th after his teammate Nuno Pinto had a crash early on in the race. Jimmy Nisula 13th, Brzezinski 14th, and Strachey, and then Siebel, Durland, which is the quickest Ferrari, and Robin Panzer, Michi Hoyer, 2 of the Burst Esports Corvettes, in front of Voigt Triple-Esny on 20th.
Fantastic racing, and obviously for the championship, it was so vital for Wisniewski to basically make up for, I wouldn't say what was a poor qualifying, because the top 10, it was like 0.3 of a second between them, but to get from 10th to 4th place is a fantastic start. He did make up ground, I think made about 3 or 4 places on the very first lap, but had to hard fight for it throughout there, so really nicely done for him, I think, throughout that race. Obviously, 15-minute sprint race will move us then onto the main race, which will be a 30-minute long session. Obviously, looking towards the split, which will be Ferry Stanley starting on pole position.
It will be very interesting if he can hold on to that and how long in a 45-minute race. We saw that in the
45,
previous.
Yeah, sorry.
We saw that in the previous season. We had drivers that have been able to stay ahead for a very, very long time. But I also think we never saw someone winning that started on pole position in the main race.
Yeah, that's. I guess we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a tough old run for him. Obviously, he was under pressure throughout that. A beautiful move from Simincic, really put it about him. Obviously, taking full advantage of the move he himself was trying to make and trying to track it down. But that's what the racing's all about, right? It's looking obviously to your best chance at trying to squeeze on through. This is Simincic on your screens right now is showing us the track.
It is the Burst Esports outfit. We talked about that. One of the very, very strong teams in GT Pro and obviously last season in GT Challenge, where they took the championship. So they're here to challenge R8G Esports, to challenge Williams Esports, Marla Racing Team. And I think that Burst Esports is one of these teams you really have to look out for. They will get stronger over the course of the season, especially with Michi Hoyer, who showed a great race pace so far, even with that jump from Challenge to Pro. So I definitely want to see more of racing action with Burst Esports. While we get underway with the main race in just a bit, everyone getting sorted once again. And then it will be Ferry Stanley, as I said already. He will lead that pack around the track for the pace lap once again. This time instead of Erhan Jajowski. And then start into the main race. Director giving us a quick look once again at the round-by-round prize money and the championship prize money. You see, there's money up until 15th position. So when you see them fighting heavily for 15th, then you know why. It's due to the 10 euros. But there's also now 25 euros on the fastest lap in the sprint race and 25 euros on the fastest lap in the main race. So these are new additions compared to Season 1. And then it's the typical 3,000 for the champion in Pro Series, just like last season as well. So nothing changed there. It's not in 2020.
Yeah, so if you get to see someone down the back suddenly popping in a hot lap, you know exactly what he's going for. And don't forget, obviously, the round winners, they get these fantastic wheels, of course. I suspect some of them may well be using them themselves. I expect most of them actually probably are already. I seem to recall Jajowski got about 4 of them last season anyway. So just add to his collection, I guess. Yeah, so obviously we need to get the grid sorted out. Everybody going to be switching positions. Jajowski will be starting down in 10th place. It'd be interesting to see how much he can make ground. Obviously, he's going to have that block of Wisniewski to get past if he wants to try and get to the front, because he will be starting out in 6th place. Now, let's talk about the start of the race, because obviously that sweeping section as you go into turn 1, turn 2, and 3, that's effectively 3 right-handers and then into the left-hander of 4, is it as we saw there, it can be very tight. It is very tight, and there is going to be problems. And I think it was pretty clean, considering we only saw, 2 cars go off. I think it was not too bad out of 30 that were racing.
I'll see how they do in the longer race, and especially how tyres will hold up to the driving style that we saw in sprint. As I said, it's a bit more on the aggressive side here in Portland, because they know how much they can cut over those curbs without getting a cut detected. The middle of the car being basically the indicator for that cut for rFactor 2. Once again, look at Portland, the start-finish line, where we will see Ferry Stanley starting the race here in the main race, and then turn 1 and 2 sweeping right-handers, and where we saw Kevin Siggy defending so hard in the sprint race. And then this happened. I love it. It's like, look at that. How you come around that left hand, a lot of speed, then you really have to brake, get rid of all of that momentum, and then throw it into the hairpin. I think Portland is a very good track in terms of GT racing. It will be very interesting to see how many more maneuvers and ideas in terms of overtaking we see in the main race.
Absolutely. A quick track, quick laps, quick action. Ferry Stanley starting out on the pole after the switch with Joni Simicic alongside him in second place. Petr Briliak and Risto Capit. Risto Capit's going to be looking to try and make up the lost ground he had in that sprint race. Yunus Ravio for Zansho, then Kevin Siggy in the BMW for Team Redline, with Nikodem Wisniewski currently second in the championship for Williams Esports, alongside him at Arnie Schoenflet up in 8th place. Kastorp and Jajowski, both from Roman Grosjean Esports, the current leaders effectively, first and second from that sprint race.
And further down, it's Jimmy Nisula and Jakub Brzezinski, 13th, 14th, and then Kenny Strachey and Siebel. Evolution Motorsport, unfortunately, with a crash in sprint, not for Siebel, but for his teammate. Martin Dillon in 17th, Robin Panzer 18th, Michi Hoyer 19th, and then Wojciech Polesny in 20th. See where the rest is. Michel Sedlacek, another Ferrari for Varga Sim Racing. Then Lorenzo Arisi with a Wave Frame Esports Corvette. Payapath, quickest Porsche in 23rd. Then Nico Barkley from 1ACO, followed by Cedar Vaya, another Suncha car, and Nuno Pinto, 26th only after the crash in the sprint race. Porsche Milan and Dennis Jordan, the other driver, and that got caught off in turn 1 in lap 1. And then speaking of Shara in 29th.
So the big red machine leading the track this time around. And of course that turn 1 is where we will be focusing our attention as they come along the back of the grid in a nice tight orderly formation. Joni Simicic certainly going to be looking to put the moves on Ferry Stanley as early as he can. Will of course be on the inside line. If he can keep track of Ferry Stanley at the start, he will have a very good chance at trying to sneak past him on the opening corner. Of course, everybody will be looking to do the same, which is the downside.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on Kevin Siggy. He's in 6th now, and I really wonder if the BMW has any potential here in Portland to move up the grid, rather than just Kevin basically defending what he was able to do in qualification, and then dropping with every single lap we do. While Kevin Siggy comes around the last corner before he can open up the main race. Jenny Simicic already alongside him, basically waiting for that starting sign while we get into the main race. Ferry Stanley, HM Engineering, opening up round 2 main race here in Portland. Everyone bunched up, just waiting. That's Peter Björk in purple, and there we go. Very Stanley starting off. Great start for him. Simic, no chance at all. Peter Björk slotting in right behind him. Risto Capet side by side with Peter Björk, and then Jonas Raivio right behind them. There's Kevin Siggy, so they're 2-2 going into turn 1. Siggy seems like to be more on the safe side. Yeah, braking a bit earlier than everyone else, trying to not get involved in any crash there. While we got Arne Schönflit's view on that, there's Nikodem Wisniewski on the left, then Kevin Siggy on the right, a bit of rubbing is racing, and then Arne Schönflit around the outside. Is it actually doable? No, it isn't. But with the touch onto Kevin Siggy, ooh, that was very, very close. Nearly lost control there. While we see another Roman Croissant Esports Corvette going around the outside and getting another position.
I was watching Jajowski throughout that, and he was just taking it easy. Make sure you don't get involved, don't get collected by anything, don't try and make too many crazy moves. And now he finds himself, obviously we've now hit single file. They were 4 wide on that start finish straight at the start of that. That's how wide they were, trying to get it down to obviously single file as best they could, which does lead them around into a very close racing to begin with. But great start from Ferry Stanley. Risto Capit putting the pressure onto Joni Simicic already here. He's going to be on the outside. I don't think he's going to be able to outbreak Simicic. He should be able to hold it well, and he will exactly do that, as everybody else looks like to make it round cleanly.
All of that plays into the cards for Ferry Stanley. He has 1 second of a gap already, and if Simicic and Capit are now busy with fighting each other, then Ferry Stanley might be able to just slowly pull away from them. That gives him a great chance here to score big in the main race. Jonas Raivio currently on 4th, and Peter Björk right behind him. Look at this huge group of drivers. Kevin Siggy still in 6th, so didn't lost another position during the lap, which is good. BMW holding on to it. Let's see, I see Shara is out with the suspension damage, so very unfortunately for the second Porsche that we have. Robin Panzer, another Burst Esports Corvette, also very far behind, so it seems like something happened to him in the very first turns. Dennis Jordan, 27th, and then Borja Milan, 26th, so seems like there were some minor casualties further down the back. Once again, Simicic against Capit. Capit not really trying to look up the inside because he got Jonas Raivio right behind him. And look at that side-by-side here between Williams and Roman Croissant Esports. That was a great turn in there. Arno was probably just waiting for the mistake that was bound to happen. Nothing happened there.
Yeah, Yuri Kastorp trying to put it about, obviously second place in the sprint race, wanted to try and make a move on Nikodem Wisniewski. They know that he is the man that's going to slow both Yuri Kastorp and Jajowski down. I want to say slow down. Obviously, he's their main contender in the championship so far, so he's the man they really would love to get past this early on. But as it is, pretty clean racing. Simicic keeping still Risto Capit at bay. As you mentioned, Jonas Raivio was looking as they approach the big long straight once again and trying to get that draft as much as they can. It's a beautiful view to see them all filing in that long draft that will switch. Risto tries to pull to the side. He will have the inside once again. Should be able to outbreak that Risto Capit, but he is going deep on this one. Capit's around the outside. A beautiful maneuver.
Amazing. Just look at how he ran that car right up to the grass line there and then turned it around. Amazing showcase of skill from Risto Capit, who's now up to 2nd and trying to start a hunt onto Ferry Stanley, who's 1.5 seconds of a gap now for him. We have a quick look at 28th. That's Robin Panzer in the Burst Esports Corvette, who was alongside him there, though. Oh, that's a Sunshine car. That's a Fremont. Oh, he got tapped in the back. That's why he was all the way down in the grid. Very unfortunate for him there. That impact into the wall.
Further down the field, Wisniewski still running in 7th place. Having to be a little bit defensive still from Yuri Kastorp, still trying to put the pressure on him, and that's buying time for Kevin Siggy as once again they file down that long straight. Ferry Stanley still holding himself a really nice gap actually. And Simicic once again having to be defensive, this time to Jonas Raivio, looking to do the exact same, but there is a big car right in front of him. He's going to force it a little wide and sort of almost just wedge himself back in there. He couldn't really make the move that Risto Capit made because, simply put, Risto Capit was in the way.
I just
this
love
the move. Here we go. This is beautiful. Once
again, the upside for Capit. You had that there, trying to really outbreak his opponent, and then he's running it right to the line. Look at that, how close it was. Able to throw the car around for the next turn. really paid off for Ristocapa, definitely deserving that second spot there. And now on the hunt for Ferris Stanley. But what I wanted to say is that's what I love about the GT Pro Series powered by VCO, because with everyone being that close, you always have to decide, do you want to make a move and maybe open up a gap for the car right behind you? Or do you wait and play the patience game, trying to look for that one error that should come one day or another if you apply enough pressure? So it's not as easy as it looked like with just, oh, I'll go for a move whenever I'm close enough, because that will not lead to anything. Well, we see Simoncic once again defending against Ravio, always into turn one. This is Nikodem Wisniewski and Yuri Kastov on the outside, but it seems like Yuri Kastov will get the upper hand in this one. He is on 7th with Nikodem Wisniewski now on 8th, and Arne Schönfeld right behind that. So Yuri Kastov getting away here way quicker from his starting position than Erhan Jajowski, the winner of the sprint race, who's still in 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. He's had a great race so far. Nikodem still trying to put a little bit of pressure onto Yuri, but yeah, can he dive up the inside here? I mean, this really is the main overtaking point is obviously that the first corner. There doesn't seem to be too many other opportunities, barring errors, individual driving errors, really, that are sort of forcing them through. So it's all about getting the right draft. And as you can see, from Nikodem's point of view, Arne Schönfeld is right on his tailpipe as they come once again down there. You can see Nikodem trying to pull it out, trying to go wide, go defensive early. Is that going to be enough for Arne to try and go through? I think he will. I think he's just going to draft on through. Can he do? Oh, no, they've collected each other. Arne should be able to collect it back. No, he's gone. That's Arne Schönfeld out. I don't really know who's going to be at fault there, as Nikodem was trying to hold the line as well on the inside, but that unfortunately will put Arne Schönfeld out.
Yeah, not enough space for both of these drivers to go through turn one there. So tight each and every time we come around that now. For this one time, it didn't really work out. Kevin Rotting now in 10th with Jan van der Heide in 11th, and right in front of him, that was Nikodem Wisniewski, who just had that contact.
We should point out that Erhan Jajowski obviously got through because of Nikodem and Arne having that contact. So actually, it's give Erhan Jajowski that position that he's been looking for the whole time. Look how close they were, though, here. Oh,
slight tapping on the rear tyre here for Yuri Kastov while overtaking Nikodem Wisniewski earlier. But then Wisniewski had that contact with Arne Schönfeld, who's now down to 27th. Luckily for him, he's still in touch with Dennis Jordan, Borja Milan, so it's not like he's lost and all alone on the racetrack. Kevin Siggy's still 6th with the only BMW in the field here. Lots of Corvettes, then BMW, Oof. 2 Porsches and 3 Ferraris.
Speaking of, Piopev and Polesny having a great old battle down the field in 18th and 19th place. The Ferrari just squeezing by Piopev in the Porsche. So finally putting some moves in there. A beautiful little overtake from Polesny.
Ferrari's really strong, like the Varga Sim Racing guys. They can do a lot with these cars, but actually not enough yet to really enter the top 15. Bring some more different models into that. Piopev now around the outside. That will probably not work on the Porsche. He's getting tapped there by the Ferrari. Little light flashing. He's not happy about that one. Luckily, nothing bigger happened.
Yunus Ravio, sorry to cut across. Yunus Ravio just got a really great drive out of the exit there, and he's actually going to get up the inside of Yuni Simoncic here, and he should get through with ease, and it's a beautiful move to get from 3rd to 4th. That all happened from the final corners before the main straight. Had such a great drive coming out of it. It put him right on the tailpipe of Simoncic on the side of the start-finish straight.
Oh, Kevin Siggy and Yuri Kastov, they're still side by side. Siggy not giving away position 6 that easily. Look at that. But it seems like now with that right-hander hairpin, yeah, there's absolutely nothing he can do anymore. He was holding on for like 3-4 corners previously, and now Yuri Kastov is through up to 6th, and Kevin Siggy down to 7th. Erhan Jajowski will be up next, but there's a slight gap between the BMW and the next R8G Esports Corvette. It's basically Yuri Kastov running away from his teammate Jajowski. Ferris Stanley, though, still first, lost a bit of time, though. He had his biggest gap in this race so far was 1.5 seconds, and it's now down to 1.2 seconds. The Risto Capit creeping closer to the HM Engineering driver that's currently leading the main race.
Ravio just trying to lose the drag a little bit from Simoncic there. I don't think he needed to worry too much. He's got himself a pretty nice gap to hold out in that 3rd place. Sancho looking very good right now. But as you mentioned, Yuri Kastov, he's the man that's putting the moves, isn't he? started out in 9th place, up into 6th place so far, with Nikodem Wisniewski losing position from 6th down to 9th place, and Jajowski right on the back of Kevin Siggy now as we start to look around the curved bend. He's going to be the one that's maybe trying to make the move. Actually, is he going to try and make the move now? No, I don't think so. I'd be surprised, but he's right on his tailpipe.
Wondering, though, what happened with Payopath after the contact we saw there, because he's now down to 25th, which means Arne Schoenfeld, after his crash there, or the incident he had, he's now up to 23rd again with Dennis Jordan, who also passed. So the Evolution Motorsport Corvette also a bit further up the field now with Borja Milan 21st. Good for them, really doing a good job getting back into the fight here. Kevin Siggy once again just permanently defending with that BMW. No chance for him to look ahead and trying to win positions, gain positions, because the BMW eats through the tires a bit quicker than the Corvette. And this will, especially on Portland, will be a huge issue for Siggy in the Redline BMW, I feel.
Yeah, we have still 35 minutes to go. We're only 10 minutes into this race, and already we've seen a lot of moves. Jajowski once again just trying to force Siggy to be defensive, try and put him out of position a little bit as they come through this complex of corners, and then wants to be as tight as he can as soon as they get into that, and he is right on the back of Siggy this time around. He might be able to make a move. Whether Siggy's going to go defensive or not, will he try and pull off the drag and go right? Obviously, Jajowski wants to get up that inside, and it looks like he's going to be able to make it stick this time around.
Also very interesting that Kevin Siggy not even try it this time to cover up the inside line like he did in the sprint race. So it seems like he knows that.
Accepting fate.
Yeah, like that the BMW is eating through the tires too quickly right now, especially then with all the fights that he has to go through. So he lets Erhan Jajowski run away. Drops down to 8th now. Barry Stanley, gap is now below a second between him and Risto Capit. So they're definitely catching. Also interesting to see how much Capit was able to spread the gap between him and Jonas Raivio on 3rd. So that's his second by now. So he's definitely very, very quick right now with the car. Yuri Kastop against Peter Bjorlak. The Williams Esports, the new purple color right in front of him there. It should be enough now to catch Slipstream and then try to make a move up the inside in turn 1, like everyone does right now. And soon Risto Capit will do exactly that to Ferris Stanley in the lead, because it's down to 0.4 for second right now.
Nicely done from Kastorp. I think he might be able to hold it around the outside. He does on Petr Briliak. That was brilliant. Absolute mind game to Petr Briliak. Petr Briliak just dived up the inside to go defensive, and Yuri's just like, I'm not moving. I'm just going to carry on straight in a perfect line and take it past him. Looking at this, though, this is back at Nuno Pinto we're looking at here, replay. This is, I think, from the first sprint race?
No. This is the
main
again. Race. Yeah, it happened again.
He's gone again.
Pinto. He's also DNF now. But that's what we talked about in qualification, right? Like the issue with Portland here, that you're always on the edge, on the line that currently everyone is taking through those S's, right? And then at one point, you do a slight mistake and the car's just gone. No chance for you to recover.
Risto's on Ferris Stanley.
Yeah, it's down to 0.3.
Yeah, he's going to put a move
now.
in here. Look at this. He's going for the move. Okay, is he going to go up the inside? Is he going to dive on the outside? We know he can do it around the outside. Risto's looking to go for that outside maneuver. I think Ferris Stanley should be enough of a length ahead. He will defense here, but this is the first real challenge that Ferris Stanley has had on his lead so far.
Yeah, it will also be interesting now how much time they lose compared to Raivio and Simoncic now right behind them. Like, can they get closer? Is like Ferris Stanley now getting everyone back into one group again? Or can Risto Capit be quick enough? Borja Milan, he's on a 488 GT3 Ferrari. That is Michael Sedlacek right in front of him from Fargo Sim Racing. And then Nico Barkley, Milan's teammate, right in front of that. So if he passes, he got the one ACO car right behind each other once again. But Ferris Stanley now, you will hate that sector of the track now, going once again onto start-finish straight, basically sitting and waiting for Risto Capit to use that slipstream and launch another attack into turn 1.
Yeah, he's right on his back end. Should be able to make the move here. This time Ferris goes defensive early. Risto tries to dive up the inside. He's got a full car length alongside him. He's going to try and stick it around the outside. Risto Capit, a beautiful move once again as he takes the lead.
Beautiful once again. So turn one works inside or outside. Really depends on how good you are under braking, and Ferris Stanley not a chance there to hold on to the leading position. So our new leader is Risto Capit from R8G Esports.
I believe when that happened, Jajowski got past Petr Briliak as well. I'm pretty sure that's happened as well because he's up into 6th place now, up behind his teammate Yuri Kastorp.
I think we actually saw that maneuver on screen, if I'm not mistaken, but with all of these R8G Esports Corvettes, I'm never really sure. While Kastorp now locks on to Johnny Simoncic. Let's burst against R8G. And Ferris Stanley soon will have to defend against Jonas Raivio, who's definitely getting closer and closer with that Sancho Corvette. Currently in 3rd. Simoncic and Kastorp also very quick lap times right now. Kastorp quickly showing himself there in the background. Not really going for an attack.
Yeah, just a small error from Kastorp, so he wasn't able to get past Simoncic there, just ran a little wide. But this is the Jajowski move I was talking about on Petr Briliak, so it was almost the same time as we saw the move for the first place is the Inglando I'm after. Simoncic is the one being defensive at the moment, though. He's got obviously Yuri and obviously Jajowski coming up behind him. Yuri is probably getting it in his ear from Jajowski. He's like, you need to get past him because I'm coming.
Yeah, they want to be quick. They obviously want to get Simoncic and then on to Jonas Raivio to get a podium spot, especially with their teammate now leading the main race here.
Well, but obviously at Sebring, we saw them in that line. They would love to be in that line at the finish of this race, that's for sure. Jonas Raivio on the back of Ferris Stanley here, looking to try and go for it. He's going to go up the inside, and he should be able to make that stick. He's got a car length in there. Absolutely, Raivio will go through into 2nd place. Ferris Stanley a little squirrely there. Meanwhile, just behind him, you can see Yuri Kastorp neck and neck with Simoncic. I'm not too sure this is quite built for 2 wide, but Kastorp will make it work, and he goes through into 4th place.
And not really opening a chance though for Erhan Jajowski. I was wondering if they will try to take him down like in a double immediately, but no, Yuri Kastorp is already around it, so it's now on to Erhan Jajowski, the winner of the sprint race, to do all of that himself.
A lot of work for him to do still, but Jajowski, we know he's got it in him to continue to make these moves, and he's right on the back of Simoncic now as we come into the main straight, looking to start to put the moves in. There's still just under 28 minutes to go in this race. So much time for so much more action to happen. But the R8G Esports boys are putting in a lot of moves right now. I'm looking at both of them actually. Looks like Yuri and Jajowski both trying to make that move work out. But Yuri obviously trying to take Ferris Stanley now, and Simoncic for Jajowski. So really trying to carve the way through the field.
He's doing that very well so far. Jonas Raivio was way quicker though on the Ferris Stanley overtake than Risto Capit, I had the feeling. Ferris now immediately defending against Yuri Kastorp. So Stanley currently not really up to the pace that everyone else is running. Got the pole position in main race due to us reversing the top 10 after the sprint race. But with everyone being that close, especially in qualifying, we saw that it's basically a second between first and last on this race in Portland here in round 2. So everyone super quick in this one. Very close grid overall. But Ferris Stanley will probably have some issues there with defending against the next R8G driver. Simoncic still in 5th though. Jajowski not yet close enough to make that move and follow his teammate Kastorp to enter the top 5. Their squad's so good in the sprint race already and in Sebring. They should probably not take every risk right now.
Yeah, just a little look from Yuri Kastorp there to see whether he could get past Ferris, but respectful as ever, making sure Did Ferris just go really wide there, or did Yuri just try and send it through the inside? I was just, as I was mentioning it, I was like, you do not overtake in that corner. But you know what? He tried. He tried. He had a little look to see if it would work. And actually, it's put Simičić on his back end, which is what's caused the little problem here. But they're going to try and make sure they got the perfect drive around this corner. And that's where you get right on the back of him. And he is. Look at this. Yuri definitely going to be making the move on Ferris at the end of this corner, the end of this straight.
But it has to work, otherwise Simičić and Jajowski both will go for him there. So it has to work on the very first attempt. Very Stanley covering up the inside line. Castor moving to the outside now, under braking. Should be a bit quicker. He's way quicker into the braking zone. And it seems like around the outside once again works very well for Castor. Now onto third, back into podium spot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's worked it well because he's done that, what, 2-3 times now as Yuri Castor. It's worked out well for him. Obviously the defensive move from Ferris Stanley and obviously pulling out that drag, just that little fraction of a second that it gives you, seems to be what Yuri Castor is actually feeding on right now, making those moves. It's working wonders for him. Meanwhile, at the front, Risto Kapit's built himself a second lead over Yunus Ravio, and that's obviously the next target for Yuri Castor. But further down the field, Jajowski, he's going to be the one looking to try and get past Simičić and Stanley after seeing his teammate doing just that.
Definitely, he wants to keep up with them. He wants to get closer to a podium spot because he knows that he can overtake Yuri Castor in a 1v1, I would say. But with that, he actually has to get closer once again. Quickly checking the board once again, so we only have 2 cars currently not in the race anymore. Nuno Pinto and speaking of Shara, 28th and 29th.
Oh, it's not going to work, Simičić. He's trying to stick it, almost trying to make it work a little too much. And look at Jajowski up behind, just waiting for an error. Ferris Stanley trying to defend as much as he can, but he will be on the outside in this corner, and he's going to lose out both positions, I feel, unless he's not careful, and he will indeed. That's going to be Simičić and Jajowski going through.
Yeah, it seems like Simičić was just a bit more aggressive than Stanley, I would say. We saw Ferris Stanley being very secure there, trying to not get in touch with any of the other cars, not collecting anyone. Love that style, obviously. He wants to make sure that there's no penalty coming his way. But in this case, he lost 2 positions to Simičić and Jajowski due to that. And now Peter Bielak is right behind him as well. And there's Nikodem Wisniewski. So it's not like Ferris Stanley gets a single lap to breathe and calm down a bit since he lost the lead there to Risto Kapit. Now there's a car trying to overtake him each and every time. Once again, he has to defend the inside line. Peter Bielak moving to the outside. I think there's not enough momentum this time to make it around the outside. No, definitely not working. While Simičić now has to defend permanently against Erhan Jajowski, who sees his chance to get close to his teammate once again and maybe running for a podium.
I mean, the thing is that Simičić has already made that outside maneuver in the sprint race. We saw him doing it, so he knows exactly where to position the car and try and be as defensive as he can against Jajowski. Basically taking a page out of the Kevin Siggy book, effectively. He's doing what he can to stay in that top 10, to stay with Jajowski. There's Raymond Grosjean Esports cars and the champion on his back. He knows exactly how he's going to have to be defensive, but by God, he's got 23 minutes to keep him at bay. I'm not too sure he's quite got it in, because Jajowski, we already saw, he's the fastest man on the track in the qualifying. We know he can put in those fast laps, and it's looking like he's going to be a little off the pace on this one, but we'll see when he gets down to that final corner.
Jajowski's an absolute machine, and we know that.
He's going on the outside.
He can make everything work, but not this one here, though, into turn 1 against Johnny Simičić. I wonder if he's just hoping that Simičić goes a bit too hot into that turn there, missing the apex and then basically creating an opening on the exit.
Whoa. Did we miss Yuri Castor taking over Ravio? Was I not looking? I was so focused on Jajowski, I completely missed Castor going into second place.
Definitely did, because Yunus Ravio was second before. And Castor is now right behind Kapit, so that's R8G 1 and 2 once again, just like in the sprint race, just different drivers this time, because it was Erhan Jajowski in the previous sprint race, who still has to overcome Johnny Simičić here. And not yet close enough to get Yunus Ravio.
Okay, let's see. Is it going to be an outside maneuver again? No, it's inside this time. The man has it all in his locker, and that's just another super clean move on Yunus Ravio. He's really got this down. And now Jajowski's looking to try and do the same on Simičić, but he is trying to be as wide as he can. It's going to be an outside maneuver for Jajowski, and this time it looks like he might be able to make it stick. It is going to be 2 right-handers to go, and then a left-hander. Yes, he's made it work. He's up into 4th.
I really wonder, is turn 1 already sponsored by Romain Grosjean? Is there like any deal for that? Because these guys are making moves there every single lap, and it doesn't matter if it's like inside, outside, if they're the ones braking earlier, if they're the ones braking later, they always make it work. And with that, Jajowski is now hunting down Jonas Raivio. There is still quite a gap though between 4th, 5th, 6th, and 1st to 3rd. So he will try to get away from Johnny Simičić as quick as possible to just be able to run his hot laps there.
You can't make it work there, Kevin, and he sent Wisniewski off the track. Kevin Siggy trying to get up the inside. That's just, I gotta be honest, I think Kevin Siggy was massively at fault there. Jan van der Heijden looks like he's going to try and make the most of this. Sancho's going to get past Kevin Siggy down the straight. And Wisniewski is unfortunately retired, it looks like. I don't know, he's way down and out of there. That's a tragedy for the man that's second in the championship right now.
Yeah, he's actually in the pits repairing his Corvette, his Callaway Corvette there. Let's see if we got that in the replay. Yes, that's Kevin Siggy, red line here against Williams. So he's looking up the inside before going into the Asses basically, and there wasn't enough space, but I'm not sure. I mean, he wasn't side by side in terms of both wheels, but it's also not like he could get invisible all of a sudden and not being an object anymore.
I mean, we've not seen anybody make a move there yet. Nobody's made the move stick, even on lap 1. So I'm not 100% sure that was really a move that was there to be made in the first place, other than sending it. Speaking of sending it, Petar Briliak goes wide. Ferry Stanley as well. It was all a bit messy back there, but Van der Heijden trying to get on the back once again. Kevin Siggy has a queue of traffic up behind him right now.
Considering from race control that Siggy was fine in that corner, so that's how I see it as well. I mean, Kevin Siggy, it's not like it wasn't risky to make that move, but he definitely was in an attacking position, and seems like Wisniewski was not willing to give up that space up the inside there, and then they collected it. Unfortunately, it was Wisniewski coming out with a very, very long pit stop. He's now leaving the pit, so he's down a lap already. But yeah, that's how it is, right? Like, if you open the gap for someone to actually make it in there through the apex, then yeah, he won't disappear if you just close the door on him. So unfortunately here for the Williams driver.
Well, further down, Petar Briliak still trying to chase on Ferry Stanley, do what he can. Kevin Siggy on your screens doing what he can to keep them at bay, and actually got himself a really nice little gap there on Jan van der Heijden. It's down the back straight where it seems to be they will catch or funneling up behind him. Up the front, it is Romain Grosjean Esports, Risto Capit, and Yuri Kastorp in second place, who's fought his way from 9th position, by the way, up into that second place. A really great drive from Yuri today. He has Jonas Raivio, though, right on his heels at the moment as he tries to once again go defensive. And, of course, that's buying time for Erhan Jajowski, the current championship leader, in 4th place, the sprint race winner as well. He's up into 4th place after starting in 10th on the main race.
Jonas Raivio basically the only driver right now that's keeping us away from a full R8G podium. The Sancho driver in 3rd. So Jajowski has to overcome Jonas Raivio first to create an entire podium for his team. We got Ferry Stanley on 6th right now. Let's pick up gap now to Petar Bjelak, and then Kevin Siggy after what happened. Jan van der Heijden next, and then it's Jakub Brzezinski closing up the top 10 that we currently have in the main race. It's still 17 minutes to go, and normally in season 1, we know that as soon as we reach like the 15-minute mark, people get
normally
a lot
we get to
more
see
aggressive.
moves, yeah, but I feel that we've seen like everything already. I'm not sure what's been left to give. What I can tell you is Martin Drillin in the Ferrari is up in 14th position now, so actually having a pretty good race here, Martin Drillin. So doing a great job down in that Ferrari, as I say. The front-running Ferrari for them. Obviously, we know Kevin Siggy, the front-running BMW. He's got a bit of a queue behind him at the moment as Jan van der Heijden still continues to try and put the pressure on him, along with Jakub Brzezinski, who unfortunately had a collision earlier on in the sprint race, but he's done great to get himself back in towards that top 10 on the main race here.
Definitely a lot stronger showing in the main race. This is Via versus Path, while Payul losing another position here, so he dropped down to 23rd. Porsche Milan will be in 24th up next. Porsche really struggling in Portland, it seems. Raffaele obviously a lot stronger right now. Not much he can do. But as you said, Martin Dulland in the Ferrari 488 GT3 and 14, so definitely showing, just like Kevin Siggy does, that there is a chance for other cars. Let's see Devaya passing Path quite easily here on the straight. Seems like there's a bit of straight line speed missing, maybe.
Oh, Siggy's defending. Siggy's doing what he can from Jan van der Heijden. This moment, that's a little bit of lag on your screen. On your screen, I'm seeing it perfectly fine. It's all good. It is going to be Siggy that just about defends. Jan van der Heijden trying to put it through turns 1, 2, 3, and 4 there, and still not able to make it stick. But he is right on the back exhaust pipers, and now he once again tries to go up the inside. We saw Siggy make a move here himself on Wisniewski. Well, this time looks like Jan van der Heijden wants it. Oh no, that has gone wrong. Wasn't expecting, I think it was Kevin Rotting maybe that snuck up the inside. I'm not too sure who exactly it was. There's cars going left and right at the moment.
Yeah, that looked quite crazy what happened there with Jan van der Heijden, but it looked like Kevin Siggy was basically holding back everyone else. Like, all of the cars were bunched up right behind him, and yeah, with everyone trying to make a move in the same corner, that's the result of it. Jan van der Heijden down to 14th.
Bonus is Martin Drillen is challenging for 11th place right now on Martin Brzezinski, Jakub Brzezinski, sorry, in the Marla. He's gone wide. Drillen maybe not giving him quite enough track, but you know what? Side by side through those corners, I'm not too surprised to see someone going off. And Alex Siebel, the man that finished second in the sprint race last in Sebring, is currently sitting down in 12th on his back end.
Yeah, doing very well here for Evolution Motorsport. And he might even take down that Ferrari right in front of him, but we'll see that a bit later. Well, we got, once again, Kevin Siggy. Oh, he's tapping the wall there.
Okay, I've got a question for you. I've got a question for you. Is there team orders going on here, or is Risto Capit about to get overtaken by Yuri Kastor? Because he is right on his back end. Yunus Ravio is putting the pressure on him. I feel that Risto Capit, he's just going to go and just let Yuri through, and he will. Yuri Kastor, what a drive today here. From 9th place in the sprint race, second place in the sprint race, starting 9th on the grid, puts him into 1st place now, and he's had some spectacular overtakes today.
To be honest, seems like Yuri Kastor's lap times are just a bit quicker than his team at Risto Capit, at least if I look at the last 10 laps. But yeah, Yunus Ravio wants to take the chance immediately, but Capit now blocking and basically bringing Erhan Jajowski into this fight very, very soon. So Yunus knows he has to overtake Capit. He has to get away from Jajowski, otherwise the R8G guys setting everyone up here to overtake Sancho and get them off the podium.
And there's a big gap between them as well. No pressure on Jajowski. Simincic is, 2-3 seconds behind him. So you can see the gap there on the main straight. And it is going to be Jajowski now that will put the pressure onto Ravio. Ravio looking to try and make a move onto Risto. It's all getting a little bit squirrely up the front as they go defensive. And no, Ravio's going to get through, I think, here. Ravio should have the 2 right-handers, and then it's going to be the lefter, and I think Ravio will be enough. They're going to make sure they don't collect each other. Jajowski's going to avoid the danger. He's going to go through on Risto Capit as well, and Jajowski moves to 3rd, Ravio into 2nd once again.
Oh, Ravio really using every single inch of the track and every grip that was available to make this move. Absolutely stunning for him to get back onto 2nd position. Well, I think that was the incident we saw right behind Kevin Siggy where Jan van der Heijden went off, and that was that the second, was the HM Engineering or the satellite car that went off there? That was not Cito Via. Who's that? Let me check again. That was Jimmy Nieseler. I was looking for him. 16th right now after that mistake we just saw on the screen. But Yunus Ravio back into 2nd. Sancho not willing to give the entire podium to Roman Grosjean Esports just yet, but he has to defend himself against Erhan Jajowski again. Erhan Jajowski, easy pass into turn 1. Seems like Yunus actually stepped back a bit. I'm not sure if he thinks his previous attack was a bit too aggressive, maybe.
No, you can't defend against. I mean, once Jajowski had the inside, there's no way he could have defended that. I think Jajowski had him dead to rights as soon as they were so close behind him. And, you know, we were talking about the drive from Yuri Kastorp, and yes, it's been fantastic, but Jajowski has met him all the way now. And I just wonder, is there going to be team orders? Or is Jajowski going to try and put a move on Kastorp? Are we going to see Jajowski, the championship leader, go for it? As say, Yunus Ravio, he did get taken by Risto Capit earlier on and has retaken that position, but now he's going to find himself in third place. Risto Capit, probably pressure on him, I would say, from his team to retake and get that third spot to lock out the podium.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Like, they're really showcasing how strong their entire lineup is. Absolutely none of them is in a position to not win a race. Well, we'll see a Burst Esports car a bit sideways there. Was that Michi Hoyer who's losing all these positions there? Now behind Jan van der Heide. Yeah, Jan van der Heide had the run into the grass 2 laps earlier. And now Jimmy Niesela is right behind him. If he can get back that position immediately from Jan van der Heide into turn 1.
Alex Siebel and Alex Siebel and Jakub Brzezinski side by side through 3 and 4 there. And it looks like Siebel has actually managed to keep him at bay. Obviously, Brzezinski was higher in the positions along with Jan van der Heide after both being collected on the back corner complex. So they are looking to try and retake some positions from them. Of course, they're going to get past Siebel and Martin Drillen in that Ferrari, looking to try and break into the top 10.
Yeah, that will be a very, very hard task for him now in the last remaining 9 minutes and 50 seconds, I would say. Even though Portland is a very short track, you come around turn 1 quite often, I would say, after 1 minute. So turn 1 seems to be the absolute best position to overtake. We saw it into the last sector as well, but last sector seems also way more dangerous to the drivers because everyone going off was in that sector. Jonas Ravio still third, Risto Capit not yet in a position to attack. So that will be a good news for all the Sentra fans out there. And we see Erhan Jajowski in what was that? Oh, that was Jonas Ravio against Capit. Oh, look at that, beautiful! And then the slight tap on the exit there,
and then he sees his inside maneuver, and he's just like, right, away we go. I mean, he did very well to sit and just delicately watch it play out and make sure he didn't get collected by anything there. And Risto Capit's actually a little bit off Ravio at the moment, so it may well be a case that he doesn't get into that top 3 podium. There is, 9 minutes just inside to go here, so as you say, probably about time for 8 more laps of this track, so he has time to try and get in there, but I just wonder if he's maybe given his all earlier on trying to get into that first place. He was leading for a short time, but no more. Looking down at Michi Hoyer, making a move here on Jan van der Heide, is going to have the inside line. Can he make sure he breaks it correctly? Or will they just collect each other? Robin is racing, and that's what it seems to be. Michi Hoyer will go through. And look at Jimmy Nisula trying to take advantage on Jan van der Heide there, but it's going to be able to make it stick, or is he? As that's going to be a bit of a wide move from Jan van der Heide. Doesn't have the braking, obviously, trying to be so defensive.
Once again, the action-packed maneuver from Jonas Ravio. Look at that, drifting over those curbs. Really lucky there that he didn't lose the car entirely.
Well, Kevin Siggy, he's hanging on. 8th place still in that top 10. Got himself a decent gap from Kevin Rotting, so should be relatively safe, barring any driver errors, I would say, over the next course. Kevin Rotting gaining, obviously, as you get the drag down that main straight, will look to go wide, but we know that Kevin Siggy is so good defensively in that BMW, swinging it out there. Yes, Martin Drillen also trying to catch these guys, but he's like 3 seconds off, so it's going to be some work for him to do that. It's Daniel Canistraki. Is it Canistraki? I believe it is. I haven't had to say his name too often, but it's great to see some new people breaking into the top 10.
Let's see what's happening further down. We've got Kevin Rotting in 9th right now against Kevin Siggy. Siggy's still in 8th. I have to give it to him for that. Defending every single lap since we started. That was once again very, very sideways across that sector. Let's look a bit further down. Wojciech Bolesny in 19th right now Lorenzo Arisi in 20th, so there are big gaps now between all the drivers. Besides Dennis Jordan and Arne Schönfleet, that's 17th and 18th. And where Dennis Jordan now gets into position to attack soon.
Brzezinski looking to make a move on Siebel down in 12th position there. It's going to be around the outside though, I'm not too sure. He's actually got a decent amount ahead of him. Is Siebel going to give ground this time? He does make it work this time, Brzezinski. He's tried it 2 or 3 times, and this time he's actually made it stick, so he moves up into 12th.
Good job there, definitely. Brzezinski finally getting back. One of the drivers I would at least see in the top 8 normally, but we also have to say, once again, it's 1 second in qualification between first and last. So
he was caught up in a bit of a collision earlier on, around about 10 minutes into the race. So it's just what forced him further down. But he's done well to get back into that 12th position, I think, Brzezinski.
So where are we with betting regarding an entire Roman Grosjean Esports podium, or Jonas Raivio basically holding up the flag for all the other teams in sim racing and staying with third right now in the last 5.5 minutes?
Zancho loud and proud, just keeping themselves up there. I mean, he was leading. He's going to be, obviously, while a third place is fantastic, he's going to be kicking himself because he had the lead at one point. But Yuri took that from him, and Jajowski I think he's going to keep station. There's no reason to go for it on his teammate there. There's plenty of points between first and second place, and I think they're going to be happy to just keep themselves, hoping that Risto can get past. Risto is gaining a little bit of ground on Jonas, but as you say, time is running out. 5 minutes left for him to try and make this move. I'm not too sure he's got it in his locker at the moment. He's still a little bit adrift.
Kevin Siggy still in defensive maneuvers, occupied basically entire lap here against Kevin Rotting, one of the few AAA esports drivers that we still have there after the deal with the Roman Grosjean Esports organization. Alex Siebel, that was a bit
Alex Siebel's retook him. He's retook Jakob Brzezinski.
Brzezinski went really wide there. I think he touched the grass slightly, lost grip. We discussed that already, and I can see that in Discord as well on the side. The discussion about them cutting over the inside curb. If you lean to the outside tire, then the inside tire is not that, let's say, not that interesting, right? We see them many corners, especially with front-wheel driven cars, but basically the front right tire lifts entirely, or one of the rear tires lift entirely, so that's fine. But it was the other way around. He was leaning to the outside tire, putting that outside tire onto the grass, and then there was just not enough grip available for him anymore to keep the line.
I wonder if Peter Briniak's fancying making a move on Ferris Stanley, or whether he's happy to take the points as and where he is. He's been following basically for 40 minutes. He's got to hope that he maybe looks to try and make a move on him at some point, but as it is, Risto Capit, it's got a little bit closer to Jonas Raivio now, maybe looking to make the move. He's looking to try and shake the draft here, Jonas Raivio, but Risto Capit definitely getting into a position to try and make a move. He's not quite close enough, I think, on this first corner to make it this time around. He is going to try and send it on the outside. I don't think he has position yet. He's not going to go for it. But Risto Capit definitely closing the gap now. And with 3 minutes to go, he's running out of laps to do this. He's got about 2, maybe 3, depending on the position of Yuri Kastop. I think he's going to probably have 3 to do it.
Yeah, so we've got multiple fights to watch now. It's between Kastop and Jajowski for the win, although I think Jajowski will take that. Probably. We got Siebel against Brzezinski. That's what you see on your left, with Kanastraci being in front of them and looking onto Kevin Siggy, who's still defending.
Through again.
It's still defending 8th, while Siebel is trying his best to get around the Mahler sim racing car. And Jonas Raivio against Risto Capit. That's the next fighting group that we have to keep an eye on, because that is for podium spot. Kevin Rotting now side by side with Kevin Siggy. Can Siggy once again defend that? No, he has to go offline. There's slight touch between him and the Corvette. But with that, Kevin Rotting is through, and Daniel Kanastraci is still behind Siggy, so at least he only lost 1 position there. Jonas Raivio into, that was after turn 1, so he's still in 3rd, even though he had to give Risto Capit another run on slipstream. Jajowski also waiting on any chance to pass his teammate Yuri Kastop for the win, but they shouldn't risk everything. Well, we see Brzezinski now being... Oh, wow, that was Siebel and
gone.
Spun it. That was not Arne Schönfleet, that was Siebel, and who was dropping there? Michi Hoyer, because I can also see him in the grass. Was that Michi Hoyer right next to Siebel?
I didn't quite see which one went off, but I'm watching Jajowski all over the back of Kastorp, so he's
Oh!
trying to
That
make
is
the
Kastorp!
move. Kastorp's gone. He's gone. Jajowski through. That's just what we were talking about. You cannot afford to make a move when you have two teammates like that. Sure, they are individual racers, both want to win a championship, but Yuri Kastorp going to be back into 5th place, but I'm not too sure what damage was done there, as Ferry Stanley will be on his rear end. And now we're seeing Risto Capit also trying to force the move onto Yunus Ravio. He's having none of it. Ravio will shut the door once again. And Jajowski, well, he's got this race in the bag. A massive, massive error between the two Romain Grosjean Esports drivers.
That was Kastorp throwing away the chance of an all R8G podium there, because even if Ravio is now losing a position to Risto Capit, and next one would be Journey Simoncic, and Journey Simoncic is also not R8G, that's Burst Esports, so no chance for them to close out the entire podium, which is good for us in terms of all the action that we about to witness, but very unfortunate for Yuri Kastorp. Great race so far, amazing overtaking early on, but now it didn't really pay off in the end. Well, we see Anders Schunflit and Dennis Jordan now after the contact a bit earlier. Jordan now back to, oh no, that was Siebel, his teammate, sorry for that. Dennis Jordan had a contact very, very early in the main race. But he's still in there, 14th position.
With those contacts earlier.
Is that Kastorp? Is that Kastorp?
This is Kastorp you're watching right now, but with the contact earlier, it's put Martin Drilland up into 10th place in the Ferrari. The Ferrari up into 10th place. You love to see it. Love keeping the pressure up there. By the way, with Yunus Ravio and Risto Capit going so defensive, Simoncic was right on their back heels just before the end of that race. Fantastic stuff. What a race it's been.
They're still racing though, aren't they? Because I think they didn't saw the flag. They crossed the line right before that, so it's another lap that Yunus Ravio has to defend himself against Risto Capit and Journey Simoncic. And I have to say, it seems like Yuri Kastorp just ran a bit hot there. He was getting the tires into the dirt, like dropped them again, and then into the next corner. Was just missing that grip basically to do the weight transfer onto the other side, and the car slipped away while coming closer to the apex.
And just before that, okay, yeah, Erhan Jajowski going over the line. Just before that, around the big curve at the back end, the almost straight curve, Jajowski had basically forced the look effectively, almost mind gamed him. It's like, I'm going to dive up the inside, and I think that maybe got in his mind, is thinking, oh my god, is he actually going to make the move? And then that obviously put the position. It's just a fraction of a second is all it takes to just get yourself out of position. And it's heartbreak for Yuri Kastorp, because as you say, he had such a fantastic ride, but you gotta give it to Erhan Jajowski. We don't often get the winner of a sprint race going on and winning the main race, collecting maximum points today with that pole position start as well. Absolute dominant performance from the current reigning champion.
Yeah, I love that race. We have to say that was a good showcase for a lot of different maneuvers, and also Yunus Ravio, who saw himself basically racing against the same car every single lap, just with a different driver name on the door maybe, and a different number plate. And he was able to hold on to second, obviously due to the mistake that Yuri Kastorp did, but still absolutely amazing blistering performance by the Sancho driver, really showing why Sancho picked him up for Season 2. He was close to them before, but Season 1 he was still racing for, I think, Evolution Motorsport it was. Might be wrong on that one though, because I think it was the teal car, that wasn't Evolution Motorsport in Season 1, but now he is Sancho and getting them a podium in round 2 here in Portland. So Jajowski, Ravio, Capit, then Simoncic and Kastorp for the top 5. Kastorp really happy probably that he's still in 5th after the mistake he just did. Peter Pialek in 6th. Ferry Stanley 7th after starting pole here in the main race. Kevin Rotting 8th. Kevin Siggy able to stay within the top 10 twice in sprint and main race with the only BMW. And then Martin Durland bringing, I think, the first top 10 result to a Ferrari 488 GT3 in this championship. Brzezinski, Nisola and Jordan, next 3 drivers, then Schunflit, von der Heide and Kanistraci for the top 50.
What a fantastic race. Some absolute amazing overtaking. Inside, outside, they made it work no matter what. And even a couple of brute force maneuvers along the way in positions we didn't really expect them. But yeah, I mean, yes, it was action-packed. Yes, there's a lot of laps. It's a 45-minute race on a track that's effectively a minute a lap. So it's not too surprising to see so many opportunities on that turn 1 where we've seen it just time and time again. Some fantastic maneuvers put through by the Roman Grosjean Esports, no doubt about it. You've got to give them credit with obviously Erhan Jajowski and Risto Capit, despite obviously the errors at the end. Obviously, for him, Yuri Kastorp obviously putting some brilliant maneuvers in, and a massive shout out to Yunus Rabiot for flying the flag for Sancho to keep them at bay. This is the move once again, and you can see Jajowski nowhere near him. It was just simply a driver error, an unusual driver error for Yuri Kastorp, feeling the pressure from his teammate from behind.
And definitely, especially here in Portland, after that great performance. But yeah, it wasn't Jajowski, but he took the win, so he won sprint and main race. Really crucial that early on in the championship. And if you were watching and thinking now, hey, rFactor 2 action, that's exactly what I want to see. There's not just the rFactor 2 GT Pro Series powered by VCO. There's also the GT Challenge Series powered by VCO, which is the feeder series. That's coming up next Monday, while we will return with the Pro Series in 2 weeks' time with Virginia International Raceway, round 3 on the 9th of November. So next Monday, there will be another race here at Portland because the Challenge Series always follows the pro schedule. Don't miss that. All that's with Aidan Millward and Lewis McGlide behind the microphones. Very interesting races there with all the drivers that want to make their way into the GT Pro Series, get the cash per race. So a very exciting championship with a lot of big prospects in sim racing. It starts at 7:45 CET as well, so the same as our Pro Series on today or in 2 weeks' time with Virginia, Nürburgring, Indianapolis, and then a nice racetrack called TBA on round 6, which will be an amazing round. I can tell you that already. So in case you think like, oh, round 6 might not want to watch because I don't know the track. No, you definitely want to watch that. No other way. Make sure 21st of December that you're ready for big final here in the rFactor 2 GT Pro Series powered by VCO. I think that's it for today. As said, next week, GT Challenge. Week after, GT Pro. Make sure to watch. Make sure to follow us on the VCO Twitter and Facebook, the rFactor 2 socials. You will get screenshots and small clips from the races. By the way, big thanks to VCO for having a database for screenshots from the race. So if you're looking for content for social media from this race, you can find that on their link on their socials. So they cover all of our races with photographers. And nothing else to say other than Jajowski, definitely championship lead after this one. Demon, did I forget anything?
No, I think you pretty much nailed the head, and it's great to see what the balance of power can bring with these guys, because we're seeing some fantastic work from Kevin Siggy in the BMW and obviously Martin Dillon in at Ferrari. Love to see what more they can bring to the table to challenge these big boys in the Corvettes.